If you were a power holder in first century Rome, you would not even have looked for Bethlehem on a map. It was not strategic, not important, not influential, not impressive. It was inconspicuous. What a ridiculous place to start a revolution, and that is precisely why God does it that way. Welcome to the Sebcast, home of the #1 network for your life. Here we turn our beloved stories on their heads, look at what history might have overlooked, and discover together how Jesus invites us into a greater story where we live, work, and play. Notice how the Bible repeats the pattern. Abraham was insignificant in a world of Babylonian emperors. Moses was a fugitive before he was a liberator. David was a shepherd before he was a king. Mary was an unknown girl in a despised province. Jesus lived 90% of his life in silence. The gospel spread through uneducated fishermen, not emperors. And today, the fastest growing faith communities are not in the Western big churches, but in homes, on porches, in apartments, and in minor seasons of faithfulness. God's strategy has never changed. We just stopped looking. Let's be honest, many of us feel insignificant. We feel unseen. We feel as if our work does not matter. We feel as if the world goes on and we do not even exist on the radar. But listen carefully, because it is God's way of showing you, I do not only work through famous people, I do not only work in big spaces, I do not measure as the culture measures, I choose what is invisible so that everyone can know I can be chosen. Imagine a young woman prays softly for her children while folding laundry. A man walks with his dog and son and listens to a song. A friend sends a simple message, I am thinking of you. A teenager tells her friend what Jesus means to her, even though she stumbles over her own words. There are no cameras, no applause, no statistics, and yet it is holy ground. Because in the kingdom of God, a prayer for a child can change a generation. A conversation over coffee can unleash a calling. A neighborhood meeting can be a mission. A merciful act can open heaven. Inclusion with you and your group can be an answer to a months or years-long prayer. The next big thing will not start in a stadium. It will probably begin in someone's kitchen because that is how Jesus works. What is the new growth for the #1 network for your life, of which you are a part, and what you also share? Let's apply it directly now, because we are not just busy with the podcast, we are building a movement. If we want to be the #1 network for your life, and you want it to be for others, it will not only happen every second Sunday, but through dozens of small Bethlehem moments throughout the week. This means we restore the value of small conversations. We form people to see what God is doing in ordinary spaces. We celebrate not only success, but faithfulness. We measure spiritual growth not only in numbers, but in transformation. We expect God's presence in places where no one looks. Bethlehem is not just a place, it is a way of seeing. The world only sees what is noticeable. God begins with what is inconspicuous. The world only sees what is popular. God plants what is eternal. The world looks at people with platforms. God looks at people with open hearts. So if you think your life is too small, too comfortable, too inconspicuous to matter, just look again at Bethlehem, because Bethlehem still whispers, God so loved the world that he came to live with us and in us. According to Heaven, the world is changed chiefly by people of whom no one ever takes photos. And if you become quiet, just for a moment, you might hear it yourself, a whisper, a breath, a light that still breaks the darkness, and everything begins again. Until next week, take care.